2 days later, after the incident, well, actually 1 day, but it's 12:38 in the morning, so the actual date is 2 days, but I went out, I came back, here's me pulling in, and as I went to pull in, the side of the camper illuminated by the headlights of my vehicle, and as you can see, I continued to drive up to the camper, and now noticing more damage. So I did contact the police back right away to let them know the damage was more than I initially seen. Like I said, the first time it happened, well, when the incident happened, it was dark out. It was approaching 9 p.m. at night. I did not go out with a flashlight to look at it. When the cop came, he just had a small flashlight to look at the damage, and I believed at that time it was only in the back of the camper. Now pulling up, the first time that I had my car light shining on it in the dark, and all of the damage then illuminated. And I then realized that it was not just in the back, it was down the whole camper, which would have been more consistent with the amount of banging I heard at the time of the incident, because it was going on for quite some time. And I was at first was shocked that was only the little bit of amount of damage that I did see, but then realizing that there was in fact more damage, and up and down the whole camper, and it is all at the same height for the most part, consistent with somebody walking while wailing with a very large stick, as some would consider appropriate as a walking stick, probably about an inch or so in thickness, about 3 feet or so in length. Probably weighing approximately 4 or 5 pounds. And there are fresh marks along with dents, consistent with scraping, consistent with wailing a metal object with a decently strong stick. The scrapes in the dents were fresh, where the paint had been scraped off, and leaving behind dents with shiny scrape marks that had not seen rain yet. As we all know, any form of metal corrodes or rusts once it hits rain, and these marks were fresh. We had just had rain, I believe not even a week prior to the incident, and these marks were not there the day before. I was actually in the camper with somebody else, hanging some things and what have you, and cleaning up, and that was during the daytime, and also the evening, and the damage and those markings were not there. In and out of this camper, for the most part, on a daily basis. Have not had it very long. Those markings were not there when I got the camper. They were not there the day before. There's no other reasonable explanation other than the wailing that I heard, seeing the people with the stick, having them on video surveillance walking up to the camper, spending a decent amount of time on the other side of the camper, and walking away from the camper holding the stick, and one was running away from the camper. So any knowledgeable person with the law would know that that is a direct admission of guilt. Not only that, but hearing the wailing, I had walked to the fence on the perimeter of the property, which is a toggled fence, which means the boards are every other board is opposite itself, the previous board, so you can actually see through the fence. And I ran and watched through the fence to identify the people whom were doing it. All but one. One was unknown to me. I could not make out who that person or individual was, and that was the individual who actually ran from the camper, who was actually, at the time, the person holding the stick. Skyla Strozeski had looked back at the property, or me, so to speak, through the fence, had seen that I was watching through the fence, and had seen what they had just done. Knowing these people to be extremely violent, I did not intervene in any way. And they have been back afterwards, noting yesterday, the date is July 21st, was yesterday, noting that that Kathleen Strozeski was again stalking the house. I did tell her to stay away from the house. At that point, I was in my vehicle. I felt safe enough to tell her again to stay away from the premises. Me, that I was familiar with the fact that she had vandalized the camper, and that there was no reason for her to be passing, coming to, or doing any vandalism to any of the belongings on this property. Okay, so this is me. I'm basically calling the police at this point. You can see here my car lights are still, I'm still on the other side of the camper with my vehicle. I'm contacting the police to let them know they need to come back and check out further damage. That was unreported at that point because I was unaware of it. So now you can see where my car lights are. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. In a few minutes you're going to see a police car pull up over here and meet me over in this area to go over the camper. I did tell the officers that I did want them arrested. I did tell the officers I did want to file a police report, and that I want this abuse, vandalism, anything and everything criminal in action to stop from the Strozeski family. And the police did not write a report. They did not give me a case number. They basically told me there was no crime that occurred. Any fairly reasonable, knowledgeable person would know that there was a crime and that I had every right to press charges. Okay, at this point, the cop just showed up. Yep. Oh. Okay. So there's a police car. I'm pretty sure that's a police car. I don't think that was my SUV. Hold on, let me back that up again to check. So this has been an ongoing situation with this family. No matter how many times I've tried to press charges, file for restraining orders, months and months and months worth of video surveillance of being stalked and harassed and screamed at for no reason in public places, followed in public places, recorded in private, private property and what have you without consent. The police have done nothing. They've done nothing about it. They don't even give me a police report number or any case numbers. So it's gotten pretty bad. So, alright, I'm pretty sure this is the police that met me, but I'm just gonna double check here. This is me backing up. Oh no, that was me. I'm sorry. That was me. must have turned my car around to take pictures. At that point I was taking pictures also of the damage. But if you just bear with me a second, you will see where the cops pull up and meet me. No, the cop still isn't there. There's the cop. Okay, the cop is pulling up now, right there. Okay. If you want me to back this up a little bit, and I can slow it down. Okay, so as you can see, the second set of headlights pull up. They're going to back away right now because that's me out there greeting the officer because I'm in reverse. Okay, so this is where the cop pulls up. I'm going to now put it back in forward motion and slow it down a bit for you, so you can see. Okay. So the time is 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:02. Going on 1:03 to be exact, as the officer approaches the premises. That's the cop pulling up right there. So the cop gets out of his vehicle, greets me. I explained to him I contacted the police the day before, that my camper was vandalized by the family that I've had ongoing issues with, that I've contacted the police about numerous times. Told them I need to make a report, I need it documented, and I'm calling them back to let them know there's more damage than initially realized when I called the police the first time. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Alright, I know it's kind of hard to see, especially when yeah, we're walking over to the camper now. Especially, it's a little challenging to see when I'm recording the screen. But me and the police officer are at the the camper now and assessing the damage. Okay, so that's the officer with his flashlight. It's me behind him. He's checking for damage on the other side of the vehicle. He did find some minute things, suggesting that, you know, it's all consistent with driving down the road and pebbles flying, which isn't true. There is very visible damage to the other side that is nothing like this side. And this side had maybe a few dings, so to speak, but nothing with scrape marks. I, at that point, had not watched the video, so I could not speak honestly about damage on the other side. I had not ever checked the other side as far as after the incident at that point. I also was unaware of what the surveillance video had captured. I did attempt to view it, but unfortunately in my condition it's very challenging to sit through hours upon hours of video surveillance. Before making these videos, I try and sit and watch and wait for the event, and that can take hours upon hours sometimes, and then right before making copies onto a camera like I'm doing right now, I kind of queue it up and get it ready when I find the event, right before the event, and run the footage from there. So the process becomes rather quickly for any viewer, but very grueling and time-consuming for me. So the cop assessed, the other side, told me there was no crime, refused to write a report. But, like I said, I have the police there on 2 different occasions, 2 days in a row, assessing the damage, whether they choose to write a report or believe that there was a crime committed. Well, that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. This is me kind of telling the officer, like, you don't know what you're talking about. If there's a few dings on here, I can't say for sure if they had did it at that point on that side of the camper, but was very sure that the amount of damage on the other side of the camper was definitely done by the people wailing on the camper with the walking stick. I did tell him I have surveillance footage and that it will take time to review. I will be forwarding copies of this footage placed on a disc to the police department, as well as any footage I have of the incident. I'll be more than happy to submit this to any insurance company that requires it or requests it, as far as my insurance. And I'm just getting very sick of the constant criminal activity of this individual family and the police not doing anything about it. It's really getting out of hand. I have not done anything to this family to deserve this. And it's just constant from this family. Alright, so I'm just going to fast forward because this is just, me basically re-going over the damage with the officer and explaining as to why he's wrong and how things are completely consistent with my story and, my account of the events, and that it's backed up even by video surveillance. And, just very upset with the whole situation going on and fearing for my safety constantly and, fearing that they're going to do more damage. And, I'm trying to do what I'm required and supposed to do by law and report these crimes and protect myself and my property and put surveillance up and everything that I could possibly do to protect myself and my belongings. And the police are not helping me here. Whenever something occurs, they're just not helping me. So this is me pulling in. The police officer is left at this point. So that's basically the end of the footage that I need to show you. Okay, the police officer left approximately at 1:20 in the morning on July 17th, 2019. Okay, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.